Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a New Zealander who lives in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and this is my vlog about my handmade life. You can find links to all of my online places at louleigh.com. Welcome! It's really nice to be sitting and chatting with you. I learnt something from my last vlog, and that is that I quite like just popping you on my shelf and popping in every now and again and having a little talk. And so I thought I would do the same again this month. It's Sunday morning, and usually on a Sunday morning I sit over there with a cup of coffee and throw this horrid thing, this ball, out the door for a little chat. Who thinks this is a great game? So that's how this morning's chat might go. But I just wanted to pop in and talk to you about something that I had done a couple of weeks ago. We have one of those shops here in town where you can paint your own ceramics. And I have to admit that I had been in the past maybe a little snobby about that. I thought it was for kids and for people who knit with acrylic. But of course last year, well, we've had a few seasons of the Great Pottery Throwdown now. And one of the things that has really intrigued me about that is the different applications of glazes. And so as I had moved here, I moved here about 18 months ago, moved into my house almost a year ago. As I'd moved here and I was wandering past this shop, I was a little intrigued to give it a go, just to see what sort of effects you could get with the things that they had there. And so a couple of weeks ago I had a friend staying, and we decided on Sunday morning that we would spend the morning down at the shop eating cake, drinking coffee and painting mugs, and that's what we did. So this morning I am drinking my coffee out of the resulting mug that I painted, and it was really good fun. So I can't really show you the inside because it's got coffee in it. But they had lots of things on the walls there to give you inspiration, and sorry, that's my dog. They had books there so that we could look through Hey! Sorry, he has to see off all of the pigeons and birds in the garden. That's his job apparently. No one assigned him this job, this is just what he did. He does in the morning. Anyway, so we had a lovely morning. They had books and things on the walls for inspiration and lots of ideas and different techniques you could try, and all of the equipment there. And they had really nice coffee and really nice cake. And the nice thing about, I know these shops kind of exist in all sorts of places, but the nice thing about ours is that there's no time slot. And so we literally sat there for about 4 hours doing our mugs. And one of the things that I did was the lady at the shop gave us a tile so that we could swatch and try things out. And for me, that was actually the fun part. It was fun just to try applying the glazes in different ways and to try out some of the ideas that I had seen in the books that were there. So this was the bit that I really enjoyed, and normally she would wipe off the you practice run and use the tile again, but I really wanted her to put this into her kiln, what do you call that, to fire this so that I could see how the glazes would look once they'd been fired, because that's the interesting thing to me. It's that change that you get. My mug looked nothing like this when I left the shop, and so it was so fun to go back and pick it up and just see how it had come out. I'll put a little picture here of the mugs beforehand so that you can see what I mean. You really can't see the colours and the effect that you got. I layered on my daubs and some other colours over a period of time, and that really wasn't apparent when I left the shop. It did look like it was just all one colour. I still have my friend's mug here, and she did something completely different. I have to work out how to package this up and send it to her. And so her mug is Delft inspired. Delft is, I think that's the name of the place. I have actually been there. Is it near Rotterdam? Or is it near Amsterdam? One of those, I can't remember. Anyway, I have actually been there. Delft is a type of pottery from the Netherlands where they use mainly blue and white in their designs. And so she did this beautiful mug with some actual real live painted artwork on it. And I think that has come out so well. I love this flower that she's done. And I love the little yellow accent that she's put on it as well. I don't know if you can see that there. But yeah, we had a marvellous morning doing that, and I would be really interested to do it again, just to try out different techniques and effects. It was lots of fun. And as I say, actually the fun part for me was doing the tile and just mucking about and trying things out and then seeing how it looked once it was fired. It was really good. The other thing that I wanted to show you is something that I picked up at the allotment yesterday. I feel like I should come clean about the allotment, or at least explain. I've moved away from the town that my allotment was in, and so I live about 20 miles away now, and so I really only go there about once a month, mainly to have a cup of tea with my friend who actually now runs the allotment. But I still contribute to it by starting seedlings and that sort of thing, and I'll go up there and do some weeding and pulling things up. And I also benefit from the spoils of the allotment as well. One of the things that we did this year that I've been talking to you about is growing loofahs. And the loofah plant is in the process of dying off now. And we were discussing this yesterday over tea and Yorkshire curd tarts. We were discussing whether we should leave the loofahs on the plant to dry off, or to bring them home and let them dry off, to remove them and dry them out. And we didn't really know, so we've decided to do both. We like an experiment, the two of us, my allotmenteering chum and I. We like to try things out. And so I have bought a couple of the loofah pods home, and I'm going to keep these on my kitchen windowsill, which is south facing, so it gets a bit of sun, to see if they dry out. If you've grown loofahs, I would love to hear what you did. Did you take them off the plant and dry them somewhere else, or did you leave them on the plant to dry? That would be really interesting. So yeah, that is the continuation of my loofah experiment. And I shall be popping back and chatting to you on my bookshelf as through the week as I'm doing different things. I've been outside doing chores today, and so I've come to the end of the day and I'm just about to get ready to go out for dinner, and I thought I would come and have a little natter with you about socks. These ones are ones that you've seen before. This is a sock blank that I was knitting up. And by a sock blank, I mean one of these. If you've been here before, you will have seen one of these. So this is a knitted piece of fabric that someone has dyed, and you undo it and knit a pair of socks. And as you can see, I've got quite a lot left over, because I had wanted to make 2 pairs of socks out using this sock blank, because I was really enjoying it, and I had a cunning plan for the rest of it. So I have been knitting these socks, and I had intended them for a specific person, but I think I've made them a little small, and so now I intend them for another specific person who has smaller feet, and I think they'll really enjoy them.
just because of the mismatched handmade look of them. So I still need to weave in all of the ends. Actually, this is one thing that I really enjoy about sock blanks as well. There's a lot of ends to weave in here. And then they need a wash and a block so that I can send them off. But I always think the inside of a sock blank or any sort of hand knitted yarn looks really pretty. Especially when it's sort of like alternating colours on garter stitch. Well, it's not garter stitch, it's reverse stocking stitch, isn't it? Like that. I think that's just so pretty. So I'm going to, as I say, weave in the ends and wash them and get them ready to send off. That will be really nice. I'm not sure where I was with the contrast colour last time I was talking to you. I had a little leftover of some, I think it's called Sheepish sock from Ginger Twist Studio, and I had a cuff that I was trying to undo and it stopped unravelling, and so I was having a tremendous job trying to unravel it. And a couple of people had suggested to me that I was maybe unravelling it from the wrong end, and I swore blind that I had knitted it in that direction and this was not the case. But when I looked really closely at the cast on, I could tell that it wasn't a cast on, it was in fact a bind off. So yeah, once I undid my sew and bind off and started pulling on that, it came undone really easily. And as you can see, I didn't have enough to do both toes, the toes of both socks, but I enjoy the sort of mismatched socks that are, what do they say? Fraternal twins, not identical twins. Is that the correct word? Yeah. And I think the person that I'm going to gift these to will enjoy them for the same reason. But I am going to check the size. I think once I put them on sock blockers, I'll have a much better idea of what size they are and which recipient, specific recipient, they should actually go to. So yeah, I really enjoyed knitting those. They have been loitering about, waiting for the ends to be woven in for quite some time now. I have had a couple of balls of yarn sitting out on my desk that I really wanted to cast on. And a friend of mine just said, why don't you? So I did. The first one is this West Yorkshire Spinners, their new Christmas yarn. You can't see the stripes there because I've wound it up into a cake, and it's called Vintage Tinsel. And I got this at the Yorkshire Yarn Festival in August, and that was the first yarn festival I had been to in so long. And I got it as a gift for a friend, and I think it was Zoe from Pins and Needles who said, after I'd purchased it, who said on her podcast, when you buy yarn you don't buy the time to knit it. And I was kind of thinking, well, giving my friend yarn is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because it's not the same thing as giving her a beautiful pair of hand-knitted socks, even though it might seem that way. And so when I gave her the yarn, I said, look, you can either have the ball of yarn to knit up if you're excited about that, or I'll knit you a pair of socks. And she opted for the pair of socks, which is actually really fun because the yarn is really fun to it's really exciting. It is sparkly. I don't know if you can see that though. I don't know if that will sparkle for you, but it is definitely sparkling for me. And I have got another ball of West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. The colour is, where is it? Oh, Vintage Tinsel, that's the main colour. is Cherry Drop. So it's this colour here. It's probably a little brighter than it is for me. It's not quite as orange as that either. So not an accurate representation of colours. But yeah, I've decided just to use it for the heel. I did think about using it for the toe as well. Sometimes I think it's nice, especially with self-striping, just to have the accent coloured heel. Yeah, I decided not to use it for the toes because twinkly toes, that's what you want. I'm not aiming to have these done for Christmas or anything, although at this rate it's highly likely that I'll have them before then. I'm just going to gift them to my friend as soon as they're finished, because fun sparkly socks, who doesn't want fun sparkly socks? So as you can see, I'm nearly up to the toe of that one, and that's super fun. Now, and then I went to another yarn festival. I'm about to go to yet another one in the next weekend actually. So all the yarn festivals are happening. And I seem to go and just buy a ball of West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. They're not sponsoring me. Yeah, just so you know. However, if they wanted to sponsor me, they should get in touch. I was thinking actually, because I do knit a little bit with West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, and I like their yarns because they're quality and they're reasonably priced. They're affordable to me. They're a save up thing, but you know, they're affordable to me, and I like the quality of them. Not always enamoured by the colours, but I would really like to know where I can go to see their whole range. They never have a booth at any festivals or anything, and I'd really like to just have a squish and see the colours of all of their ranges of yarns. Because most of the time when you go to yarn shops, they'll have specific lines from them. But I would really like to go to, even if it's just a festival booth or somewhere, where you can go and see everything and squish everything, basically. Anyway, so I was at Yarndale in Skipton, which is another Yorkshire yarn festival, quite a big one. And West Yorkshire Spinners do a sock yarn for Yarndale, a specific colourway for Yarndale. I'm not sure if this is this year's or last year's. Anyway, it was one that appealed to me. This is the yarn. I haven't caked this one, I'm just pulling it from a ball, which is really frustrating when it's in a bag and it doesn't roll around. This one is called Barbara, and I just really liked the colours of this. And it was sitting on my desk, and I was working away, and I kept looking at it and thinking, I can't wait to cast that on. I can't wait to cast that on. So I did. And I'm not sure who this is for. But I am knitting it to my size. But I am not the only person I know who has my sized feet. So it may or may not be for me, but I'm really enjoying that. I don't yet have a yarn for the heels and toes, and so I'm hoping to pick that up when I go to the next Yorkshire Yarn Festival. There's 2 this year, which is quite exciting, when I go to that next weekend. So I shall take this one with me then. But I think I'm plugging along with the vintage tinsel ones, because they're fun and exciting, and for someone that I like, and you know, all the right reasons. So those are all the socks that I have on the go right now.
Good morning. It's been a little while since I last sat down and had a little chat with my camera, but I wanted to tell you about one last thing before I signed off and posted my vlog. I have started a new jersey, and this was something that I saw at one of the Yorkshire Yarn Festival events. I think it was either late August or early September. There's been 2 Yorkshire Yarn festivals this year. Actually, it's been really nice. In the last few months, I've been to 3 yarn festivals, which was a little odd, being out and about in crowds of people again, and really nice as well. Really nice to see friends again in that environment. But at the first Yorkshire Yarn Festival, I paused because I realised I've left the kettle on and I need to go and take it off the heat. I'll be back in a sec. So at the first Yorkshire Yarn Festival, I was sitting with my lovely friend Hickey Thump, eating a piece of cake and drinking coffee, as you do, when this woman wandered in a really beautiful jersey. And so I approached her and asked her what the pattern was, and as it turned out, it was her own that she was releasing pretty much the day before Yarndale. So it was still a little way off when I spoke to her, but that was okay because, you know, I had other projects to work on. But anyway, it had this beautiful colour work yoke and just stunning. So I have started knitting the Bridgerton pattern by Unwind Knitwear, and the designer is local here in Yorkshire, and I'm using some yarn that I am reclaiming from another project and another colour that I bought to go with it. So what order should I tell you this about? In this bag that I made out of a tea towel by Angela Harding, who is a Yorkshire artist as well. I think she's from Yorkshire. I might be wrong. She's definitely Northern English. Anyway, I had started ages and ages ago the Boverton cardigan from Koftebukken. And I do really like this, but I realised that it was I don't really like this high contrast between the colours, and this was probably busier than I would wear day to day. I had an idea that this would probably become something that I just wore to yarn festivals. And also, it is a slightly closer fit than I prefer these days. So I have started undoing all that knitting. I think I got it to the point I'd nearly finished a sleeve. I'd done the body most of the way down. I usually do most of the body and then finish it last when I can try it on with the sleeves to make sure that the length is right. So I'll wash things and try them on. Yeah, so I'm undoing this one to reclaim the yarn. That's an ongoing thing. And I'm using this colour for my, I'll just focus here. I'm using this colour for my Bridgerton. So, another bag. In here is my yoke, and I am just chipping away at this little by little. I've started watching the Netflix TV show. I don't have Netflix, so that involves going and socialising with a friend at her place. And we watch a couple of episodes together every now and again. So that's a nice side effect of casting on a new jersey. These are both Jameson and Smith 2-ply jumper weights. And I got this blue colour, and actually this turned out to be a happy accident. I ordered a cone from Jameson and Smith, and I had intended this to be a slightly darker colour, but I misread the code, or I don't know if I misread it or I just selected the wrong thing when I was ordering, and I got this slightly lighter denim colour, and I'm glad I did. I think the rust looks really good against it. I think the darker colour would have been okay, but maybe just a little too low contrast, whereas this is just really nice. Reminds me of kind of 70s flocked wallpaper or something, and as a kid of the 70s that appeals to me. So yeah, that's kind of like my slow knitting at the moment, and I'm really enjoying seeing the pattern reveal itself in the fabric as I just chuck my way on through it. So yes, so I'm going to get my act together and edit all these little bits together and get them up on YouTube, because it's really nice to be back in touch with you guys. I don't know if I spoke about the Advent mini skein swap, but we've had the last swap now, so we're all ready for Christmas, and I just wondered if I should organise a knit along in the group or somewhere else, because I know a lot of you aren't using Ravelry now, which is, I don't know, that's just a shame that people are excluded like that. Anyway, so yeah, if you'd like to do some sort of knit along or something, then let me know, and also maybe suggest where the best place is for you to do that. Maybe we just do it on Instagram, because that's just seems to be the simplest for a lot of people. I have the week off, and one of the things that I am doing this week is to reorganize my front room again. This is an iterative process. I think the last time I showed it you on Instagram, it was just full of boxes, and then I cleared them all out, and I've just been getting new bits and pieces little by little, and today I'm getting a new desktop, and that's exciting because it means that I will have a desk specifically for working at home and an area where I can leave projects out. And that means that I can get back to a larger quilting project that I have going. It just means that I can leave my sewing machine up. I might actually get round to finishing my table mats that I showed you in the last episode and are still on the table in the same state they were in. Yeah, so that's just really exciting, making better use of my space so that I can do more fun things. Anyway, it's been lovely to have a little chat with you, and I shall get back to you as soon as I can, and keep my camera set up so that I can have a little chat with you every now and again. If you enjoyed being here with me, then please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Cheerio!